All right, we're sitting here at Fairbanks with my buddy Dan O'Neill. Actually, Dr. Dan O'Neill.
Honorary.
Honorary Dr. Dan. Yeah. And we're at his little hideout west of Fairbanks. And I just wanted to introduce Dan to my friends and followers because he's one of my favorite buddies and my really good author, and he's got a bunch of books out. And I'm going to blame him, but he's the one that got me writing stories years ago. When I left the village, he kind of rescued me and told me to write it down. Well, I'd never written anything down. The only thing I ever wrote was a check before that, so it's all his fault.
I've been telling you ever since, too.
Today, as a matter of
Even
fact.
today.
But I appreciate that a lot, and you appreciate a good story. So, if it's okay, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite books, A Land Gone Lonesome, which is basically a follow-up on.
No, we don't say that, Mike.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, show the people the book.
There's the book.
He was going to say it's a follow-on to John McPhee, and in some ways it is. McPhee wrote a masterpiece called Coming Into the Country in 1976, and so this book is 30 years later or something, and does go out into a lot of the same country on the Upper Yukon River. But I actually put in a Dawson, so I have a whole Canada section before his book begins.
I see.
And then we overlap from the village of Eagle down to Circle. And in some cases, I'm able to find some of the people he wrote about all those years later. And in that way, he does follow up on his work. So they're similar. His is, he's a writer for the New Yorker. It's very, like I say, it's a masterpiece. It's a very polished piece of prose. Mine is I worked hard on it too, but it's more like a literary travel writing where you go in my case down the river in a canoe, and then kind of spin off tales to do with different places on the river that I go through. So it's a little bit about me going down the river, and then 90% of it is different stories that come off of the places I encounter and the people I encounter.
Yeah, lots of characters on the Yukon River. And how many times did you, go down the river? Or
I went first in 1975 and really got hooked on Alaska, and then moved up here. And I went Eagle to Circle. And then for this book, I think I went down on different parts of it 9 times.
Wow.
Over the course of about a year. But it's based on one solo trip I made, Dawson to Circle. But I could sort of hark back to, well, I was here once before and saw this. And, it added to the material.
Yeah, well, I think I met you on the river. You were mushing dogs. You and Sarah were going to Nome, or
not that
78?
time. I think
No?
we were going up to the Tosey River.
Okay, the first time. Yeah.
Where her brother was building a little cabin, and so we went. I think we went Nenana to Manly, to Tanana, and then up the Tosey.
Right.
And yours was the place to stay. Everybody told us.
Roadhouse. Yeah, I didn't know that, but I guess so. It was warm.
Yeah, Mike's Roadhouse. That was in the 70s, all right.
Yep.
Somewhere in there.
Then you went on down to Ruby. I remember that. Or did you go all the way to Nome that time?
2 different trips.
Oh, geez.
Shortly after that, we did go down to Ruby. That was the year you sponsored Stan's Array and the Iditarod. And we had some dogs being run by Eddie Ferran that year. And so I think it was a airplane.
There goes Danny Hayden.
Yeah, a lot of airplanes around here. So we marched down to Ruby and watched the race go through. It was one of the years that the race went through Ruby. And we saw you there, and Stanley come in. And Stanley was going to go on and get Rookie of the Year, finish about 10th place or so.
I think 9th, yeah.
Yeah, 9th.
Yeah, he did good. He had good.
And then the year after that, Sarah and I went all the way to Nome. We went Nenana to Nome, about 800 miles.
Jeez, man, you had some mileage on you. Was that the year Runyon ran, the next year?
Yeah, it was really cool. Joe was coming out from Tanana to Manly to hit the road system, but he didn't have a truck that could carry dogs, but we did. So we drove our dog truck down to Nenana, unloaded our dogs and sled, mushed up the trail, ran into Joe going the other way, And then he got to Nenana, got all his dogs loaded in our truck and drove to Anchorage and ran the race, leaving our truck there. Then we went cross country to Nome, and instead of him, he had a free air trip back with all his dog teaming gear to Anchorage, but it was easier for him just to charter to Tanana straight across. And we became his team and sleds and dogs and masquerading as his team. We flew under his name to Anchorage and picked up our truck and drove back. So it was perfect logistics.
So you guys sponsored each other that time.
Yeah, exactly.
In those days, that's the way it was. Yeah, one hand washes the other, but that's for sure.
What year was that now?
Man, 82, I think. I think it was 82. No, Joe's would have been 83. Chris was born 82. Right around there. I can never remember exactly, but it was a real exciting time to be on the river with lots of characters and dogs. And I write about it. Dan writes about it. Anybody that's ever written anything during that period stopped in Tanana. John Hildebrandt. Lots of authors came through. Lots of stories, you know. And then the latest is Dan's book right here, The Impertinent Question. And you wrote with the Fairbanks, not with, you were what do you call that? Editing?
I was a columnist at the Fairbanks daily paper called Fairbanks Daily News Miner. And I was on that, doing that job for 4 years. And read the subtitle, Mike, because that tells what it's about.
Oh, yeah, there it is. The words and adventures of a liberal columnist at a conservative newspaper in the red state of Alaska.
Yeah, so it wasn't a job with a lot of longevity, but it was a lot of fun mixing it up while I did it. And also this book, this little newspaper clipping, you probably can't read it, but it says, "Paper fires controversial columnist." That's me. So that was the Anchorage paper writing about me getting fired from the Fairbanks paper.
Right. And I went to, actually, I read this the other night, and then I called him and said, you know, after reading a couple of those things, I'm amazed you didn't get fired sooner. You are rough, man. He takes on everybody.
Including the newspaper.
Including the newspaper.
Yeah, you just cut me out of the frame.
Oh, there you go. Oh, man. Well, they can hear you. That's the main thing. You got to watch this camera, man. I only got one eye, and it barely works. So there we go.
Well, in fact, the third column I ever wrote took on the paper.
Right.
And I gave it to my wife, Sarah, to proofread. She said, "So, you only wanted to write 2 columns." But I sent it in anyway, and it ran. And I did it for 4 years.
No, it's good stuff. He takes on everybody. Teller, the military. Nice article about Sarah Palin, which I was very surprised to read. And all these characters. Yeah, he didn't cut anybody much slack.
No, including Sarah Palin. Although I did cut Sarah Palin some slack, and she deserves some slack.
Yeah, and that was good.
But I mean, she's now completely earned the caricature of her that she didn't start out that way. We were pretty happy with her here in Alaska as governor.
Yeah.
But once she got nominated with McCann, she just turned into the pit bull with lipstick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We don't recognize her anymore.
Yeah, but he hits on everybody. And this book's just out and Dan's gonna hit the road and down to Anchorage, I think in August, first week of August.
Well, I'll be there like 8 and 9.
Okay.
Something like that. 8, 9 August. Going to have an event at Cyrano's, which I guess now is no longer a bookstore, but some kind of event space. And so that's on the 8th. There's going to be some other writers there, and should be all right. Should be pretty fun.
Anyway, he's hard to pin down. He's been over here stacking wood and getting ready for next winter. And so I cornered him for a few minutes, and I wanted to promote his books and our story together as friends for a few years here. Keep an eye on each other. And we'll catch up. There's lots more to come. Lots of fun stories because of all the crazy characters we know. We're like the 2 sanest in the bunch, but we sure do know some cases. So we'll update you. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye.